All right, we are live. Another exciting episode of the Legacy Lounge podcast. With me today, so excited, so excited. Got Tamira here, Coach T, as she's known out in the world. Coach T, tell them what you do real quick.
Yes, so I am a life coach, not the average life coach. I do have three things that I specialize in. I specialize in relationship, self relation, financial literacy, and business career.
Hey, how
Yes.
long you been doing that?
So I've been doing it for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
but it's funny because that's a trick question. It's one of those things that has always been within me. So I started taking it serious two
Yeah,
years ago, shall I
yeah.
say.
Oh
Yes.
man, oh man. So what was that journey like 2 years ago? To go from there to where you are now. Tell us about that.
Yes, yes. So what I did, and I want to quickly clarify relationship self-relation. So a lot of times I get phone calls or text messages about couples relation, which I can speak about that, right? However, I primarily speak about self-relation, okay? And what that look like or what that is pretty much coaching about just the focus on you. And it's not selfish at all, just focusing on the relationship you have with your internal self. So, wanted to clarify that we
And
do
that's the important
focus on,
relationship.
yes, yes, self relation. Self relation is very, very, very important. Very important. So, I started a business a couple years ago called RFLBC Coaching, and it stands for Relationship, Financial Literacy, and Business slash Career. That journey has been life changing, not only for myself, but for amongst those around me, friends, family, co-workers, just people that I walk into, on the street and just meet. I can be at a store. Um, so that journey is challenging sometimes, and the only challenge that I really see from it is trying to help others get out of their own way.
Mm,
But the journey for me, like I said, it's always been something that was embedded in me.
hmm
So it was kind of like it flowed, honestly.
Yeah. So going back to what you were saying, like that relationship with yourself, I know we
Mhm.
was talking earlier and we were talking about you are the only person that will be with you 24/7. You're the only person who will know every minute of your life and every detail of your life, even to every thought you've ever had. And even when it comes down to finances, I tell my clients, like, your current self is going to be the one to take care of your future self.
Yes,
So knowing yourself is super, super important.
yes.
What are the first steps you would say in getting to know that person that we're going to spend the rest of our life with?
Mhm. Okay, so I would say asking yourself questions. What is it do I want? What
Mm,
does that take? What am I willing to change? How do I see my future? Um, where am I at right now? Right? And it's kind of like meeting yourself where you are. And that can be honestly one of the hardest things because when you're in it, when you're in your present time, everything seems this is what you know, this is what's comfortable and familiar to you. You don't really know what you have to change in order to kind of go in the direction that you need to go to be what it is you need to be, right? So for me, I had to ask myself questions and be real with myself. And I say that's kind of hard because you have to hold yourself accountable for
yeah,
a lot of things,
yeah.
and that takes some forgiving, just being able to handle constructive criticism as well and being able to change that, those things. So, and being consistent when you finally realize, okay, this is what I want, this is what I'm going after. You set up your goals, right? You have to be consistent because consistency builds a habit and a habit creates a lifestyle. So it
Mm,
can be challenging,
mm.
it can be hard, but I promise you, it is worth it. Take it from me. Yes.
Yeah. So you said the first thing is knowing what you want. And
Mhm.
it's something that lately I've been thinking like, do we truly know what it is that we want? Especially getting bombarded so much with different lifestyles and you're seeing
Mhm.
people do different things. And then it's like one day I want this, the next day I think I want that, the next day I think I want that. How do we
Mhm.
really, is there a way to just truly just go, okay, get really clear on what it is that I want? Because the things that,
Mhm.
Tina wants are going to be different from the things that Tamira wants, is going to be
Mhm.
the different things from, Jim Bob down the street.
Yes. Yes. So, with that, again, that's just being very transparent with
Mhm.
yourself. And sometimes you have to take yourself away from the distractions. You have to really sit with yourself and you, right? So, and man, we can just put that cover on and go out there and everything seems fine. But when you are sitting with yourself, when you are in the present moment, you realize, okay, hey, this isn't, so being able to just sit with yourself and be honest, that will
Mm.
open up a door, for you to visualize other things. And just kind of planning those things out and just being real with yourself, that goes a
Mhm.
long way. You can only fake a certain thing for so long, and until it's kind of like, I call it a snowball effect. You fake it, you go rolling down until you just crash out.
Yeah.
So
So a lot of people say you got to be real. What does that truly mean to be real?
okay, what do you struggle with? What do you need help with? What has been hindering you from getting to the next level or being the person that you truly desire to be? Self hindrance that's a real thing. Self
Mhm.
sabotage is a real
Mhm.
thing. It happens all the time. So just kind of noticing, what do you struggle with? And that goes in a line of really noticing what it is that you want. And once you notice what it is that you want, and you kind of build a bridge from the current you and your vision, right? So, what I do personally, okay, what am I doing now that will affect me from going in that direction? You know, excuse me, the people, the places, the things, right?
Mhm.
The place that I'm going now, is it benefiting me and where I'm heading? Does it benefit my desires? Does it benefit all of these things? And for me, when I had to figure out for myself, it was some of the things weren't. I had to be able to cut those things off. So what's
Was that an
hindering you?
easy process for you?
No, not at all, because this is something that I was comfortable with. This is what my life was up until I had to sit with myself and really say, hey, is this what I want to do for the rest of my life? And I said, no. Okay. I answered that. Now that you don't want to do it for the rest of your life, what do you want to do? And let's focus on that. Let's not focus on the problems. Let's focus on the solution, right? So it's not easy, but it's worth it.
Okay.
It's worth it.
So I know with things like that,
Mhm.
you have friends, family, peers, and
Mhm.
they will, try to convince you because they have one idea of you, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
you have a different idea of
Yes.
yourself. But
Mhm.
a lot of times you'll try to stay in that box that people
Mhm.
put you in. One, because it's your comfort, and two, it makes them comfortable. So you don't want to really disrupt the status quo. But what are some things that you can do? You said sit with yourself,
Yes.
but what are some things that you can do so you can realize, like, okay, that's
Mhm.
great for them and I'm happy for them, but I need to go in a different direction.
Okay. So what I do, and I have a list of things literally. um, what I do is I focus on my happiness. What truly makes me happy, you know, and I lay that out. So if this is what makes me happy, this is what I want to go towards every day, my happiness. Do I really feel like my true desire and happiness is, where I am? And again, I answer no. Okay, so let's fix that. I focus on my habits. And again, being consistent, so
Mhm.
it's breaking the old habits, creating new ones, right? And once you do it, you build up that consistency. You be consistent with your habit. And again, your habits Once you have that aligned and being consistent, your habits is able to create a lifestyle that you do want. So I had to look at, what makes me happy? What are my habits? My current ones, my old ones, my new ones, right? I had to look at that. Even communication, my communication skills, I had to break that down. My time management, I
Yeah.
really, man, balance. Balance is a huge one.
Mhm.
So those are the things like, I mean, you really have to kind of rip yourself apart to recreate.
Yeah, so you're saying going towards happiness. Now,
Mhm.
I know just from the experiences that I have, especially one of the things that comes to mind is going
Yes.
like, okay, happiness in the moment
Hmm.
versus my ultimate goal, my ultimate happiness that I want. For example, I remember back in my college days,
Hmm.
all the money that I would spend just partying and be like, YOLO, if I could have all that YOLO money back. And that was happiness in the moment. And then
Yes.
looking
Yes.
back, I'm just
Yep.
like,
What did I do?
okay.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And I oftentimes say that, I say, that living young, wild, and free phrase, man, that was a setup. Okay. That was a setup for me. Okay. Cause I'm like, man, I'm okay where I am now. I know that I'm still working on things. So I'm not comfortable. You know what I mean? You get comfortable, that's when everything kind of sets in and you feel like you don't have to work on anything. So do not get comfortable. Always look for, an opportunity to be better. Always seek things. Put yourself around people. Go to different and really be true to yourself. Would this benefit me? Would this help me? This is what you have to change certain things. Again, people, places, and things. And just changing them does not mean that you can't have that same fun. You just have to recognize what that fun means to you and what that fun be beneficial to where it is that you're going. So, man, that young, wild, and free, I'm like, man, okay, if I would have known what I know now, completely different, completely different. And that's what actually inspired me to also be a life coach, because I used to look back during my transition, right? I used to look back and I used to say, man, if only I had a me when I was that little girl or that teenager or that young adult. If only I had, yeah, if only I had that coach, right? Man, Tino, things will be different, right? So you can't change the past. You can't change anything that was done before, but you can start today.
Yeah, the
You
future
can
begins
start today.
right
You
now.
can start today. Yep. And it's better to start today than tomorrow. And it was better to start yesterday than today. But starting now.
Yeah. So, how you're saying you're moving towards happiness,
Mhm.
and what came to mind for me was sometimes it's moving away from pain because, like, as much as we want to go towards happiness, sometimes I don't know if that's a strong enough motivator,
Mhm.
but I know if you got that fire behind you,
Yes.
walls are closing in,
Mhm.
and you're like, I do not want to be in this position of my life
Mhm.
anymore. That sometimes is all the fuel that you
Yes.
need to keep moving.
Mhm. Absolutely. And I agree. I agree 100%. And another thing that I did too, when I finally scoped out what it is that I really want, what it is that I really, for the rest of my life, what could I see myself doing? If I could start a business, how would that look for me? What is my dream career? How does it look? How would that even feel? Right? I know I want it, but how can I get there? So I had to take a step back and I looked at the world from an outside perspective. I looked at the cultural aspect of things, right? And I also looked at the social economics, also called socioeconomics. And I said, how does those three things align with me, with
Hmm.
other people, with my
Hmm.
future? And I started just breaking things down. Once you decide, you have to decide. It starts from that decision. Do I want to be better? Or just am I comfortable and just want to stay the same and everything is just fine and my life is just, and it's a lot of times it's no, because you have that limitless mindset. You can go so far, so far. You don't today, it does not have to stop here where it's at in your life, whatever it is. And you can be on the right path. You can be doing good, but it's so much more. I promise you.
Yeah. Everybody has different comfort levels, especially, in this system, in the world, you could do whatever it is that you want. You can,
Mhm.
especially when you're talking about social economics, you can go as high up that financial ladder as you want.
Yes.
But it's really like getting into that comfort zone.
Yes.
One of my mentors told me that your comfort zone is going to be your brokest zone.
Mhm.
Like wherever you're comfortable, just know that hey, that is your floor, that's your level,
Mhm.
and there's always room to go further and go higher.
Yes.
But something that another person told me was when it comes to comfort zones and getting that movement, especially when you look at the grand scheme of things like
Mhm.
with finances and taxes and is this money going to be around? Is Social Security going to be around? Like
Right.
most
Oh.
people are not going to make a move
Mhm.
until they go into their local grocery store and
Mhm.
their favorite version of Coca-Cola or their favorite version of Captain Crunch isn't on the shelf anymore. And
Mhm.
then their eyes are going to wake up and be like, oh, yeah,
Yes.
this ain't cool anymore.
Right, right. And that happens too often, believe it or not. It too often where it's like sometimes it's too late, right?
Yep.
Man, it's better to grab all of that information because the world is going at a rapid speed. You don't know what's coming from what, when this thing's going to happen. So, yeah, like you said, people don't realize until the very last minute. So, it's setting yourself up now so that you're prepared for those moments when things happen.
Oh man, how can we do that?
Goodness. Just really, how can we? It's a lot of ways. It's a lot of ways. Figure out again what it is that you want. Start making those changes now. Don't wait till tomorrow. As soon as you get your niche, as soon as you know, execute. Start executing plans. Set your goals and realistic goals, right? Things that you can see and mark out. Vision boards, oh, those work. Write your things down. Write what it is that that you see yourself doing in the next months or few months from now, a year from now. If that works for you, I'm more so the type of I have to write it down
Yeah,
because
me too.
sometimes I will forget. So I have to write it down. And then I have to place it somewhere where I can see it. It's like, it's right in my face. I can't run from it. I can't run from it. And I try to do things every day to get me closer to that goal. That'll get me closer to the lifestyle that I see for myself.
So how do you help people just get that started? They're like, hey, that all sounds great. That all sounds good, because everybody has something that they want to strive for. But
Yes.
how do we actually put in the action to do that? You said it's habits. How do we get those habits started and forming so that we can change our life?
Yes. So I look at asset and liability,
Okay.
and that's how I kind of shape it. Okay. What I'm doing now, is it helping me or is it hindering me? Is it pulling me closer to or away from?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so but now we got to get a clear distinction on what's an asset and a liability because some
Yeah.
things you might be like, "Oh, this is an asset because it's you feel like it's helping you." But how do
Mhm.
we get very clear to know the difference?
Okay, so an asset is, and I use this in a financial state, right? But it goes along with everything. So an
Mhm.
asset is something that'll help you again become the person that you need to be. So if I'm using it in a, excuse me, financial aspect, I'm looking at, let's say, property. If I went and bought a house, this will be an asset because I know that eventually this house can make money if I decide to sell it, whatever I decide to do, whether it's break down to my kids and my kids' kids, it stays along that generation, right? That is an asset because it's something that I wouldn't have to, well, they wouldn't have to work for. It's something that they can build their wealth upon. It's an asset. A liability would be something that it kind of wastes your time and money. Excuse me, you don't see an outcome from that. You don't see that is actually helping you in a sense. A pair of shoes, we all love them, right? We got to have a pair of shoes, but is this pair of shoes going to make you money? Is this going to change your life? Are you really going to be able to utilize this, for an extensive amount of time, or with that wear and tear of that use, just be that you spent your money, you're not getting anything back from it. So I look at assets from what can I use? What can I invest in? What can I invest my time in that's going to pretty much create that revenue, looking at it from a financial state, that passive income. What can I get from this here that's going to last for years to come?
It's interesting that you take it from a financial point of view, because especially when it goes back to, you truly have to know yourself, because something that is an asset for somebody else could be a liability for you. Like when you mentioned the shoes, some people, they make their money off of shoes. Most people don't. So, or then even when it comes down to buying a home, it's like, did you really buy the right home? Because a lot of people losing money in real estate, but a lot of people also making money in real estate. So.
So then it goes to what do you truly, what is your passion? And what I did is I aligned my passion, my vision, and my purpose. And that's how I came up with coaching, right? My passion, I love to do it. I love helping others. I always wanted to be conducive to change, right? I was always about each one, teach one. Again, I wish I had a me when I was younger, right? So I grew up kind of like, okay, I need to be a part of that change. I need to help others, right? So it's really just kind of figuring out your niche and how it will help you, how it will help others, and not just be detrimental. What isn't detrimental? Can you see yourself doing this forever? So coaching is like, okay, I love it. Even in the midst of it being, stressful, this is something that I love to do. I like to connect the dots, right? And help other people, because I know how it feels to be just kind of lost and trying to figure out, the resources to things. And man, pulling people up to climb that ladder, being that listening ear, it's totally worth it for me. So that's my passion. Then my vision, I can see myself, you visualize. So I can see myself doing this forever. And my purpose, when I really sat down with myself, noticed what it is that I wanted to do and how I see my life, my future, I said, my purpose. I naturally do this whole coaching thing, right? It started from like friends. My friends were my first clients, right? And I just thought I was being a friend. Like, I got you, I'm here for you. This is what I'm supposed to do. And then my siblings started coming, both older and younger. And I'm like, it's something there. But when my parents started coming, Tino, I'm like, wait a minute. Now, this is strange, right? I'm thinking like, Dad and Mom, I'm supposed to come to you with all my problems, my issues, and you're supposed to figure it out. But when they started coming to me, I noticed then something was in me that I had to like pull out. It was always there, and that was my purpose. Always there. And your purpose is something that you do effortlessly, right? So when you sit down with yourself, what is it that you do? What am I good at? What am I doing effortlessly? And again, so for those who are questioning purpose is your ability to naturally do something with little to no effort. So that's a question that, when you sit down with yourself, ask, what am I good at? What am I complimented on the most that I didn't even know that, I was doing something or changing people's lives?
Yeah. That's got me really thinking, because, passion and purpose and
vision.
Do you like which one?
Passion, vision, purpose.
Which one do you think people should focus on first, especially from a financial standpoint? I see a lot of people who have a passion for something, but I'm like, hey, that's just going to be a hobby for you. Like, I'm not saying get rid of it, but
right. I would say purpose, because your
Purpose.
purpose is already within you. You just have to bring that out of you. So your purpose is something you're more likely to do for the rest of your life. Some people say, I want to find my purpose. What is it? And they go about life trying to find it. It's already in you. You have to bring that out. You have to really, again, sit with yourself and bring that out. So, excuse me, with me, when it come down to coaching, or a life coach, a lot of people get like life coaching, mentor and counseling and therapist kind of mixed up, right?
Mhm.
So, me as a life coach, what I do is, or what coaching is, regardless, is help set and attain goals, right? In order to maintain your well being and fulfillment in life. So, I'm here to help you. How does that look? I start from at the beginning, right? I start with the end from the beginning. So it's working backwards. I see
Yeah.
what I want. Now let's create that bridge to get there, right? So again, like you said, it's kind of the vision, the purpose, and the passion. You have to really make sure that all three of those things align. And that's what will kind of keep you connected, keep you on the right path. And it's easier for you to sort out what it is it taking me to my purpose or taking me further away from it.
Yeah. So speak on vision a little bit, because you said, you're starting with the end in mind and having an end goal, and then
Mhm.
engineering it, working backwards. And you mentioned about vision boards, but like, how do we actually get to see ourselves at the vision, at the finish line, instead
Mhm.
of it just being like, oh, you know what, I want to make $1 million, let's just use
Mhm.
that for example. But how
Yeah.
do we actually get ourselves to see, you know like it's always said, you got to see it in your mind's eye before you get there physically. So how do we actually get to see,
Mhm.
feel, experience that before it happens?
Changing your mindset. Changing your mindset. Because we often do things, that's already like with what we think, right? What we think, what we've known to do, changing that mindset, right? Um, for me, in vision boards, writing it down, looking at it, seeing it, and self-doubt. Don't self-doubt. Do it. Do it. Pull the trigger. If you say, hey, I want to be a doctor, okay, visualize that. How do you how would it feel? What would it do for you? If you became that doctor, what is the change that comes with being a doctor, right? So you have to really change your mindset, really get in it, as if you're already living that type of life, as if you're already that doctor, you know.
And then what happens when the people around you are like, oh, you over here pretending to be a doctor, you're not a
Mhm.
doctor.
No, it's just setting goals. This is what you want. I want to be a doctor. Everything that I have to do now, knowing that this is what I want, I have to put those things in, everything that I have to do, my goals in order. So if it's those who are saying that, they probably shouldn't be around anyway, because they see you striving for something. You have to kind of get comfortable being what it is that that you're going for already, because you get there and you're not even comfortable being that or doing that. It's going to flow. It's just going to leave, right? So you just kind of put yourself in that. It's kind of like creating that avatar in a way, right? Okay, this is what I want. This is how I want my avatar to be. I'm going to set goals. I'm going to break the barriers to get to that person. So visualizing that, just seeing it, how do you think it may feel being that? What does it take? What will you have to change? Sit with doctors if you can. Try to connect with other doctors. Try to connect with people who are on that same path as you. And it's a narrow road, but it's gonna go. You're gonna go. You're gonna go. You're gonna flow right to it.
Mhm.
You're gonna flow right to it. So just visualize yourself being that person.
Yeah.
Open the mind. Open the
Having
mind.
vision is a clear first step.
Yes.
And then the second thing is really what I'm realizing in my life is I spent a lot of time putting a lot of thought into things, just really thinking my way through. But really, with all that thought,
Mhm.
that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the results that you want. It's
Right.
when are you able to take action on it. So it's like you
Mhm.
have the vision, take action on it.
Mhm. Yeah. You have to be willing to, you have to be a risk taker. And even that can be hard for some, right? But you have to keep your eye on the prize, keep that goal first in priority, right? Man, even for myself being a risk taker, my brother would always tell me, like, pull the trigger. I'm like, no, like, I'm comfortable right here. I'm in a safe zone. But it takes for you to do that to get to the next step. And once you do it more, you get to the other step. It's easier said than done, but once it's done, it's easier done than said.
Yeah.
You have to get into the flow. The
Yeah.
flow.
You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to see the next step.
No. And trust the process. Trust the process. You know how you get in the car and you trust that it's going to get you to the next destination? You have to trust yourself just like you trust other things.
So how do we develop that self-trust?
Oh, goodness. And that's hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
um, just know, be confident. Be confident in you. Be confident in you.
So when you mention confidence, what I think
Mhm.
of is the memory of past victories and
Yeah.
past successes,
Mhm.
which then goes, okay, I remember my successes, my victory, my wins, which
Mhm.
gives me more surety in myself so I can do this. Because again, to be confident and is to confide
Mhm.
within myself. But I feel that a lot of people struggle with that
Yeah.
because again, you also are the only person who remembers all of your victories and all of your failures.
Mhm.
So how
Yeah.
can we focus more on the victories, less on the failures, and then do what we need to do to build up more wins, which will lead
Mhm.
to more confidence?
Absolutely. So, um, I say celebrations, and that doesn't it does reward yourself in such sense, right? So, for instance, for those who work out, and I use this not because I've heard this analogy before from people who work out. They say, "Hey, what I do is I have a workout plan Monday through Friday. If I complete that workout plan all the way up until Friday, I'm going to reward myself with something." So that's what I found. And for me, okay, if I stay on track and if I do this, I'm going to celebrate myself. I'll feel good if I, go out with a friend and we just kind of breathe, right? So
Mhm.
just rewarding yourself, set up small rewards for yourself and work your way up into those points. And you have to have that self-discipline because if you don't make it here, and you if you make it here and you're supposed to be here, you don't get that reward. Self-discipline, even when you know you can, even when you know you have the money to do it. Is that right? Should you do it? Saying no to yourself. Saying no to yourself. And I will also add to that, in being confident, is looking at the progression, looking at where you were, where you've come. There had to be some sort of change in that analogy, right? Look at that. Look at where you want to go, and keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And again, it's not easy. It's changing that mindset and going, pulling the
Yeah.
trigger.
I forgot who said it, but it was like the success is just the steady progression to a worthy ideal. Like whatever it is that your ideal goal is, as long as you're making progress, you are successful.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. I actually just had a conversation yesterday about that. So sometimes, when you're a busybody, you're doing stuff, you're doing stuff, you're doing stuff, and it seems like you're doing something. But if it's not working towards that goal that it is that you're wanting to meet, you're moving in place. It's kind of, you're on a what's those things that the guinea pigs are on, and you don't
Yeah,
want to
the
do that.
little
You want to
wheel, the
take
little
yourself
hamster wheel.
completely out of that and actually work towards something, move towards something.
Mm.
Absolutely. I just had that conversation with someone yesterday, and it's like, okay, you can be actively doing something, but are you doing something that's beneficial to you, that's going to change your life, that's going to knock out some of those goals and barriers?
So did they realize they were on the hamster wheel, or you told them that they were on the hamster wheel?
We were having a conversation, and they noticed that, and they say, you know what? I'm tired. And that's enough right there. Once you realize that you're tired of the same thing, it's no results from what you've been doing, it's time to change. Now, focus on that change. Don't focus on the problem. Once you realize that it's one, that don't focus on the problem. Focus on the solution and how to get there.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Coach Michael Burt?
I've heard of Coach Michael Burt.
Oh man, phenomenal guy. Just absolutely phenomenal guy. And he truly believes that everybody needs a coach. And
absolutely.
It's so much I can say about that, but I'm not even gonna get into that right now. But.
Even a mentor, like, man, some people say, I don't need a mentor. I got it. I don't need, and they're here to help you, right? And that's one thing that I say I'm a coach with of transparency and not judgment, because I meet you where you are. And then we talk, we see, what is it that you want? Bring me your vision, and I'll put oxygen to it and turn your vision into, your life. But we have you, come on, get that mind going. What is it that you truly, truly want for yourself? And if you have kids, what is it that you want for your kids? What does wealth look like to you?
Yeah, that reminds me of a conversation my wife and I were having. And I brought this up. I'm like, okay, so there are things that I want in life. And then there are things that you want in life. So let's figure out what it is that I want. Let's figure out what is it that you want. And then what are some things that we want together?
Yes.
And then, in the event that kids are brought into the picture, they also have their own individual goals and dreams. So what is it that they want? But then they also have a vision of what the family should be like together. So you got to take a look at all the individual pieces and look at the whole unit together.
Yes.
And have a vision for that. So what I tell people who are the heads of the household, I'm like, your vision has to be big enough to hold everybody else's vision in there.
Yes, absolutely. And I agree 100% with that. Me, I have 2 little ones, right? And man, they're at that stage. One of my kiddos are at that stage where we go to the store and want something. And then my other kiddo knows, like, hey, you can't go in and ask for everything, right? So he's more so into finances, and it's so funny because he's 11, right? And he's into finances. He's into, how can I make my money work for me, right? And I started them both off by giving them an allowance, and I would take them to Five Below. And one of my kiddos will go and grab this big thing and spend all of her money. Where my other kiddo, the one that's more into finance, it's like, you know what? I can get these 5 things for the same price, and I'll have more. Excuse me, I'll have more things to do, more things to play with, more things to eat, whatever it is that he get, right? So when you say your dream has to be, big enough for everyone, that does matter. So now I speak to both of them. I said, okay, what can you do with this here? Instead of you just wanting it, and when you spend your money, it's gone. What can you spend your money on to make more money? And then you'll have all of this here. You'll have more of this here. You will be able to, you'll have it longer. You'll be able to share it. You'll be able to do whatever you want to do with it. But it had to start with me. I had to make sure that I was doing it so that they see me doing it,
Mhm.
because my son, that's the financial one, right? He had to have seen, because I was once the other one. Like, I'm just gonna go and get this, and I'm just gonna be, and I'm like, yeah, no, not gonna work. So I had to carry that. And I'm like, okay, I see my errors, I see my mistakes. I don't want them to go through that. So, hey, let's get it together now. So, I agree. Your dream has to be big enough for everybody, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is interesting, especially as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, can you speak to so one of the things that I see when it comes to some parents is like,
Mm-hmm.
you want to inspire your kids, but your kids are watching you. And so it's like you got to go after your dreams and goals. You can't just try to push them or live vicariously through them or be like, hey, you know, I couldn't make it, but you got to go
Mm-hmm.
and just speak to that, like putting in the effort so that they have something to model after.
Yes. So I I'm very, very transparent with my kids, right? And I tell them, I speak to them as if I speak to, anyone, right? Just being real with them. And I say, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. So just basically having that conversation with them, communicating with them, and telling them, explaining my errors. Because kids ask why. Why can't I? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And I'm like, I'm not just saying no because, I'm just saying no. I'm the mom, so I'm saying no, and you're gonna listen, right? It's because I know that if you continue to do this, the effects later is going to be detrimental to you. And if it's detrimental to you, it could potentially be detrimental to me because you're my child. So I'm not going to do anything that's detrimental for me because I don't want it to be detrimental to you. So let's have that mutual, let's come
Mhm.
together and have that same mindset. And then I break it down, excuse me, a little further for them. And like I said, I have a son and a daughter, right? The daughter is the youngest, the son is the oldest, he's 11. He got it. He got it. I say, son, right now, let's hold off on this. Even if we can do what it is you want to do right now, let's hold off on it. And explaining the bigger picture so that it gets his mind going, right? And then he will explain it to his sister. And then I'll explain it. So she's getting it from both ways. And then dad is like, yeah, you know, gotta listen to mom here, because we've been through it, right? So just
Mhm.
having that open communication and to do it while they're young is better than do it when they're older. It's better to try it. You know how it feels to play catch up. You know what that means. And just trying to prevent them from going through the same thing. That's like my biggest goal. Like, man, and I'm not going to push my dreams on them. I'm going to let them see the steps that I'm taking, walking it, and then let them be that fearless individual as well. Like, oh, let me do it. And I'm gonna back them up. And my mom was like that with me as well. She allowed me to just kind of test the waters until I found my niche. She was right there with me. She didn't push me to do anything, and she didn't put her dreams on me. And I said I would leave that floor open to my kids as well, because what it is for them is for them. What's for me is for me. Absolutely. Hmm.
Mhm. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So we're gonna have play a little game here,
Hmm.
little fun game here. Got this
Yes.
whole deck of
Yes.
cards.
Okay.
All right. I'm just gonna run my finger through them,
Okay.
and when you tell me to stop, that's the question I'll ask you. That's on the card.
All
All
right.
right.
Stop.
Okay. Ooh.
Hmm.
What is the name of this chapter of your life?
Ooh, what is the name? I would say risk or take a risk. That will be the name of this chapter. Because like I said, I know what I want. I have to just do it. I have to take that leap of faith and go. I can't hinder myself. I can't, it will be risk.
Okay. So it's funny because you said that in the future tense, like you have to take a risk.
Mhm.
So my question is, are you taking the risk now?
I am. I work my way. Like, I feel like I'm on the edge, right? Where it's like, okay, I've made it here. Should I jump into the deep end and trust that I know how to swim? Even though I do, right? It's just I don't know what's in that water. I can't think about that. I can't think about that. So yes, those steps there, but it's more. It's more.
Yeah, because you say that as if you're right, like how you just described, like you're right on the edge.
Yep.
But you say that as if you need somebody to put a little finger in your back and just go boop.
Just push me right over. No. Yeah. And it's funny because I'm that finger. I'm the one that's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I say that being realistic, taking that risk, because I will get in my mind sometimes too, like, should I not? And I found out that, man, you can be your biggest critic. Goodness. And so once you get your mind going, you find a million reasons why you shouldn't do it or shouldn't do it right now. And I'm like, nope, don't even want to shut that off. Be in the present moment and go.
Yeah.
Regardless.
Yes. Sometimes you got to have that sit down and that talk with yourself to, be the person to push yourself sometimes.
Yep. Be that person. So I would say risk, and in a good way, because sometimes people think like, oh my God, risk is that's a horrible thing. No, be that risk taker. Go and do it. Because if you don't, who's going to do it? Who's going to do it for you? Your dreams, your future, your career, it all lies in your hand. You have to be the one to do it. So I would say risk.
Okay. So let me ask you this, especially your journey of being a life coach. I can only imagine that you were helping people, but then there might have been times, because I even think back to my own life, where it's like, oh, I should have said this thing to probably help this person, but I sat in silence. So what's something that you wish you would have said to someone?
I wish. That's a good question, Tino. You got me there because there's so many things, right? Say no. Let your yeses be yeses and your no's be no's. Because a lot of times we cater to things that we are not meant to cater to. And it can be because, let's say, a friendship. This is my friend, it's been my friend forever. But sometimes you have to step back and say, hey, this is my friend. This is my true friend. My friend is going to go with me where I'm going. My friend is not going to keep me here or whatever it is. It can be, again, friendship. It can be, a cousin, a sister, or a brother. Letting your yeses be yeses and your no's be no's. And be okay with that. Be okay with that. Be your unique self. Do what it is you have to do to get to where you need to be. And let your yeses be yeses and your no's be no's. Because, man, when I was saying yes to everything, saying yes to things that I didn't take the time to even digest, I'm like, I feel myself being pulled here and pulled there. No more. And once you stand firm on that decision, your focus goes to where it needs to be.
Okay. Well, I hope the person who you needed to tell that, I hope they're listening right now. I hope they got that message. That message is just straight for them.
Yes.
Especially because, You never know when your moment's going to come and when you're going to get another opportunity to hear that message.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And trust me, I've done it before. I'm like, I should have said no in this moment, or I should have said yes in this moment. And the more I said yes to other things that weren't suit for me, it was taking me from where I needed to be. So it's like I'm standing firm. Nope, I'm not overly stretching to where I can't get what I need to get done. I'm not doing it. No
Mm-hmm.
more.
Yeah.
So let your yeses be yeses and your no's be no, and stand firm. If you have a little bit of you to give it. If you don't try and pull it from somewhere that
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, with this being the Legacy Lounge podcast, what does legacy mean to you?
Oh goodness, legacy means um generational wealth. And what is generational wealth to me? I do not look at money. And that's funny, right? Just money. I look at knowledge. I look
Okay.
at knowledge. To me, that is a legacy. What can I pass down into my children that they can carry on forever and pass along to their children,
Mm-hmm.
so on and so forth? That's the legacy for me. That generational wealth, that knowledge. And that knowledge, if you really utilize that knowledge the right way, it'll bring the finances and everything else that you need, right?
Oh, for sure.
For sure, for sure. So,
So like, let's just say it's 30, 40, 50, 60 years into the future, right?
mhm.
What is it that you want? Because you said the knowledge. So what is it that you want? Tamira's legacy, right? What
Mhm.
is it that you want your children to know? If you can just give them a message, maybe they may find this again some years into the future.
Mhm.
A message to your kids from you.
I was saying, be you. Do not change you, based off of what someone else wanted you to be. I would say turn that knowledge into power. Because a lot of times people will say knowledge is power. And I even tell them this now, that knowledge is power only until you make it. Because sometimes you can know what you have to do, but not do it.
Mm-hmm.
So be you and don't let anyone change that. You don't have to be the people pleaser. Turn that knowledge into power. That's what
Yeah.
I would tell my children.
Yeah. Because knowledge by itself is not power. It has to be
Yes.
applied. When the knowledge is
Goodness.
applied, again, you
Yeah.
said people know what to do and don't do it. And again, going back to that situation about you know weight
Mhm.
weight loss, whether you want to gain weight, whether you want to lose weight, people
Mhm.
overcomplicate it. Because at the end of the day, you know what you need to do. If you want to lose weight, you need to move around more, maybe lift something, eat
Mhm.
better.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So changing that knowledge to power. And it's so funny because sometimes you get those knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. It's like, no, it's not until you turn it into that, until you absolutely use that knowledge to change
Mhm.
something, to do something. Because you can know everything and it can just be sitting there within you.
And that's the same when it comes to money. A bunch of dollars just sitting in the bank account does
What?
nothing. It
Man,
does
you know what?
absolutely
Financial literacy, man, that
nothing.
is something we all need, but something that so many lack. Once I got that niche, I said, wait, it's so much to this. It's so much more. It's so much. Those hidden gems, find them. They are out there. Trust me. They're taking certain things out of school and places for a reason. Okay. Get it, get it
Mhm.
now. So, absolutely.
Yeah. So if you can give people one financial tip, what would it be?
Invest. Invest into yourself now. Invest into your future now. Financial tip would be invest in something that will change your life, your kids' life, your kids' life. That's what I would give them.
Yeah.
Whatever that means to them, like do it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
To piggyback off of that, I would say that you definitely have to invest in yourself, because that's going to give you the most return.
Yes.
No matter what, go meet the person, go shake the hand, go buy the course, go
Yes.
find a way to get to the seminar, the networking event, find a way to get into the room.
Absolutely. Go
All
do
of
it.
those things, invest in yourself, because you are your biggest asset that will return the most to you.
Absolutely. I agree. 100%. Not 99.9, no, 100%.
All right.
Yes, yes.
So
And
is there any message that you want to leave with the people?
Yes, I would say recognize good debt and bad debt. What's a liability to you? What's an asset to you? Sit with yourself. Sit with yourself and start making those changes today. Start making those decisions today. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow isn't promised. Don't know what tomorrow may bring. Start today. Whatever you can do. If it's something that you have to look, pull your phone out, look into, start setting goals. Start setting goals. Be real with yourself.
Yeah, because I would say don't wait, because you hit the nail right on the head saying that tomorrow's not promised. But also people wait, and then they're like, oh, I didn't think I would get here. And it's
like, oh my goodness. It's like you fight for your time back. You fight for your time back. Man. I'm not, no. It's like you're fighting for your time back. So invest that little bit of time so that you'll have that freedom forever. Forever. Yep. And that's a good debt. Okay. I made this time right here. I'm going to miss out on this, right? But man, that's a good debt, because the time that you could have utilized to do something else, you invested that same time into do something that's going to be beneficial to you in the long run, for your family in the long run. So, man, good debt and bad debt. But if I invested that same time into something that's not going to help me, that's bad debt, right? So,
And what I would say to anybody watching live or on the replay or however you're catching this, if you need help, the two people on the screen, reach out to us. We can definitely help you with anything that you need dealing with finances. If you use money at all in any way, shape, or form, reach out. And then also, if you just want to have a great conversation, if you want to get to know yourself better, if you want to put together a plan for you, your spouse, your family, your whole generation, just reach out. We are here to help, and that's all that we want to do.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We are open and available.
All right. And so how can people reach out to you and find you?
Yes. So you can reach me at, this is my coaching info here. To figure out more of what it is that I do, you can go to my website, which is rflbccoaching.com. You can even email me questions at rflbccoaching@yahoo.com. You can reach me on Instagram at coach_Tamira. My Facebook page, that is Tamira Moore. You'll find some jewels there as well. Those are currently my platform. Coach T on LinkedIn. Man, those are my platforms.
All right.
You also see me out in the community as well, in Rockford, Illinois. So I'm out here in the community, just bringing awareness.
Hey, that's how you can find her. Make sure you reach out if you need. Please do not hesitate. Again, one of the goals of this whole podcast is making sure that we are able to connect people to the people who have the knowledge and the info and the resources. So please do not hesitate. Reach out today, reach out now. And if you found anything that you got from it that was of value to you, please share it with the community. Our goal is to help everybody, because the rising tide raises all ships. And with that, we're out. Bye-bye. Y'all have a great day.
See you later.